I wanted to ask you a question about navigating ambiguity and how it ties into leadership. I appreciated that you shared the formal definition of ambiguity, of being able to hold two ideas or multiple ideas at the same time. And to me, one of the things that we're really observing a lot here at Rotman is the importance of leaders being able to exhibit empathy. And so much of empathy is being able to understand multiple points of view on teams. So can you talk about the importance of navigating ambiguity as a leadership skill and how it applies to managing teams of people?
Yeah, I can take that one. There are two ways to think about that, particularly as there's a desire, a mandate, a need to create more diverse workplaces. The more different people are, the more uncertainties we open ourselves to. When we work with people who are more like ourselves, then we reduce that uncertainty. We have an idea of what we're going to get. So we're encouraging leaders to put themselves into an even more ambiguous situation by surrounding themselves with people that might not be like themselves in order to get to those more creative solutions or ideas. At the same time, taking risks, being innovative requires uncertainty. That's what risk taking is. So if you're in an organization that is striving for, true innovation, you're putting yourself into a situation where you don't know what the outcome is going to be, and that's incredibly difficult. I think a lot of leaders talk about how they really want to take those risks and they really do want to be innovative, but actually acting on that and accepting some of those failures, accepting that there's a lot of uncertainties in the process is really, really difficult. And I think that's where leaders could really stand up of helping their organizations to manage that, or at least to encourage some of that risk taking in order to get to those bigger ideas.
That's great. Maybe just a follow-up to that in terms of that importance for leaders to embrace risk taking. Any advice or guidance on how leaders can self-evaluate? Are they actually taking risks? And because there's a continuum and a scale of how far people are willing to push the envelope. How can folks assess, are they are they really taking a risk?
Yeah, I think there's different scales to that, right? Like there's the sort of big epic ambiguity, and then there's sort of daily ambiguity. So assessing those huge risks, if that's tied to a dollar amount in R&D or something like that, like there's metrics around how much money is being spent, but there's also ambiguity on a smaller level. So how are you handling it every single day? How are you answering questions? How are you communicating to your organization about changes that might be pertaining to the pandemic? Like when are you coming back to the office? When are, there's decisions to be made every single day, and there could be ambiguity in all of those decisions and communications as well. So I think measuring it really depends on the scale, and not really holding ambiguity in one place of it. Like it has to be these huge, ambitious risk-taking type activities.
I'll also add a framework from kind of the educational sphere, the zones of proximal development or learning zone model, where you talk about comfort zone, places that are familiar and recharge us, the learning zone where we're kind of stretching ourselves, and then beyond that, the panic zone, where we're kind of stretched too far beyond the learning zone. And so we found that helpful with our students and kind of mapping their learning to populate on a map, like what activities, what are you doing in each of those zones? Because if we're not in the learning zone and occasionally tipping over into the panic zone, right, you're not probably pushing the boundary of your learning zone. So that's one kind of tip that we write about in terms of an overall balancing navigation strategy is being aware and asking yourself, like, am I choosing something that might make me uncomfortable or might make us uncomfortable and push us in a way?